Hi, Chris.
Hey Heather, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Doing okay under the circumstances.
Hanging in there. Hi, I'm Heather Lackey. I'm Chris Burdick's campaign manager. And I thought that this would be a nice time to check in on Chris and see what he is doing all the time because he is the Bedford Town Supervisor. He's also running for New York State Assembly for District 93. And right now he has his hands full with taking care of his town. So I wanted to have him walk us through his days right now because I know that they are busy from the minute he gets up until the day is done. And so, Chris, I also know that you're a very early riser. I am not. And now that my children are not in school, I am definitely not getting up early, but I know that you do. So, why don't you take us through your day starting from when you get up in the morning?
Sure. Um, you're right about that. I do tend to get up pretty early, usually about 5:30, and the first thing that I'll do is I'll try to catch up on what has occurred since closing up the night before, trying to check on our emails, trying to check to see not just what's occurring at the national level, of course, but also if there are any developments at the state and county level. And I then launch in a whole variety of work that needs to be done. Early on, for example, we had to make some decisions, and some of them we had to make on our own. I had to make the decision, for example, to issue an emergency declaration in which I closed town offices, I closed the parks, and took actions which I felt needed to be taken in order to protect health and safety. And so that's the kind of thing early on that went behind the scenes that I needed to act upon to protect our community. During the course of the day, I'll have numerous calls and video meetings with staff, with our attorneys, and a lot of that is trying to understand what the executive orders are. They're written well, but there's often the need to determine how does that apply? How does it apply to the operations of the town? How does it operate for businesses? One of the more recent issues was, are landscapers permitted to continue their work?
Mhm.
How is it in terms of how we're managing what goes on inside a grocery store? And are they doing what we think is the best thing to do to protect themselves and to protect customers? And during the course of the day, then I start to get a pretty good idea of things that are new that I need to let the community know about, that I need to get that out in as prompt and coherent a way as I can.
Mhm.
And each day, I find that there is important information that I need to convey. And each day when I'm done with the day, I'm thinking, well, maybe tomorrow I can skip because haven't I said it all? Don't I have a pretty good understanding at this point of what needs to be done and how we need to cope with this? But then what do you know? By 5:30 in the morning the next day, new facts have arisen and new uh, directives may have been issued since the night before, and we have to then put that together to let our community know what's going on.
Mhm. And I know you're on phone calls all the time too with George Latimer and each.
I am, George, who's been doing a spectacular job in this, has three phone calls a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 o'clock with the elected municipal officials. And he gives a succinct overview of developments within the county. Um, he then will field questions on the part of the municipal officials on how to cope with this.
Mhm.
And that's extremely important information for us to know and for us then to convey to the community. And I have to say that we're just extremely fortunate that here in New York State, we have outstanding leadership on the part of Governor Cuomo, who is providing us hope and great direction and taking, the crisis by the horns to do everything they can to cope with it and to direct medical supplies and to create new makeshift hospitals and testing centers and everything that's needed to try to fight this this threat to us.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're basically busy from the second you wake up in the morning until you probably fall into bed at night. So.
Well, that that's true. I mean, it's required that, and I think that that's my obligation is to do everything I can to protect our community and to carry that out.
So I'm sure that people are calling you and emailing you. What have their concerns been? What are some problems that have arisen in the midst of this crisis?
Well, it runs a wide range. A lot of people may want to know what can they do to get testing, or how is it that they can, a library director recently contacted me to say, gee, can I have one of our employees go into the closed library and work on the bills and pay bills? And it might be someone else who's saying, geez, what are you going to be doing in terms of allowing people to walk in the town parks? And I may have to make it clearer that, gee, you're absolutely permitted and we encourage you to walk in the parks. And here's some side streets that you can park near the park and walk across and get some exercise and some fresh air. A lot of it is dealing with businesses as well, as I mentioned, and to interface with their grocery stores, with other services in town that are remaining open and may have questions on how to go about their business. I had one of our grocers who said, geez, are you able to get hand sanitizer for us? Because our employees are coming in and working 15 hours a day trying to provide that to our customers and for curbside delivery and pickup. And so it runs in a whole gamut in terms of how I can try to help the community.
So I know that a lot of people are really scared right now. I'm scared right now. My husband works on Broadway, and Broadway is dark right now, and we have no idea when it's going to open back up. So right now he's unemployed, which has been working out well for homeschooling because he's able to help out a lot, which is nice, and we're enjoying some family time. But it's also a scary time, and I'm worried for the health of my family, the health of my friends. Which I'm sure a lot of people are feeling as well. What words do you have to offer for people that are feeling really scared right now?
Well, there's no question that it's a very anxious time, and understandably so, as has been observed time and again. We're in uncharted territory. This is an extraordinary change of everything that we do in our lives. Everything's been turned upside down, but I do think that we need to look for the positive, look for the fact that we're extraordinarily fortunate and blessed that we live in a community where people care for one another, they look out for one another. There's a sense of community in this. There's a sense of how can I help? What can I do to pitch in? And there's the desire to be part of the solution, to be part of the positive way of looking at this. Is, as Governor Cuomo has noted, look for the silver lining in this. Look for what we're doing as a body together, as a community, to get us through this. And we will get through this. This is extraordinarily difficult times and extraordinarily stressful, but I think that because of who we are as a people, because of who we are as a community, we will be able to weather all of this. And I think the governor is right, that we will come through this stronger than we began.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking this time with me, Chris. I know you're extremely busy right now, so I really appreciate it.
Well, good to be having an opportunity, even if it's only a few minutes and then I'll duck back to the work at hand.
Yes. And if anybody has any questions or concerns for Chris directly, you can reach him at chris@burdickforassembly.com. Also, I want to take this opportunity to thank our amazing volunteers for getting Chris on the ballot for June 23rd. Honestly, we have just extraordinary people that have helped us thus far. We still would love help if people are looking to give it. You can email me at heather@burdickforassembly.com. But the most important thing right now that we want everybody to do is just to stay safe, stay healthy, stay home, wash your hands, and take care of one another. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.